The Lord does not need your money.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Yay.
I like that. That's one of
Me
my
too.
favorites. Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to our post-family home evening Q&A. And Kirsten's got her diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
Is that what that is?
Sorry. Yes,
No, you're
always.
good.
I have
That's
a
right.
brand, I guess.
Yeah, you have a type. It's fine. And
I do.
mine is the mysterious Yeti. I'll never tell. I have promised never to reveal the secrets of the Yeti.
I love that for you.
Good to see everyone. Thanks for joining us. We just thought that we would get together and have a little live Q&A after our episode drop. I hope you guys are enjoying Family Home Evening, family night that's actually fun. And I
With our
was
actual
really
family.
yeah, I was actually crying again about our little kismet interaction that we didn't know about until we did the show. And I felt bad because Randy was already over here waiting for the live, and everybody in the chat over there was like, Randy, where are you? They had this moment that was like a Randy moment, because Randy always has these moments where people are like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
So for the benefit of
Yeah.
Momo Nomo, who is Randy C. Watts, we'll just briefly retell the story that there was a situation in San Antonio. Every Christmas, they used to do a nativity collection where everybody from the church and also from the community would come, and they would bring all of the nativities that they owned for this big display. And so that everybody who was Christian, whatever denomination they were, could come to the Mormon church and see this nativity display. And there were hundreds of nativities.
Yeah.
And it started just as like part of the gym that they would fill up. And then as the years went on and more people donated, thanks to Kirsten's mom inviting community members, it ended up that they had all of the rooms of the church were full of these nativity displays during the Christmas season. And they had, themes in each of the rooms. And, Kirsten is quite a bit younger than I am, I will have to say. My sister is 6 years younger than I am.
Not
and
that much
Kirsten-
younger.
Well, I mean, you and my sister were kind of in the same age group.
Yeah.
You and my younger brother, who's 3 years younger than me. But
Yes.
anyway, so I didn't think that we really knew each other or had interacted at all. But it turns out that during one of these nativity programs, I would come and I would play Christmas carols for several hours while people would come and watch the nativity displays. I would sign up for, I think, like a 2-hour, 3-hour shift. So Kirsten remembered that during one of those sessions, she remembers me playing the piano.
Yeah. Vividly.
Yeah, I want to tell you, I want you to tell, like how you remember it.
Well, yeah. So I remember I would come with my mom because, like Megan was saying, my mom was really the one who came up with this idea and had put it together, and it kept getting bigger every year. So a lot of times I had to go with her to work it, help people move through the lines, make sure people weren't touching things. And I would see Megan playing, and I was just like, she is so pretty, and she plays piano so beautifully, and I want to be her. I remember watching you, just thinking, I keep saying, I just remember thinking you were so beautiful and just playing the piano. And so my mom was like, well, go tell her you think that'll make her happy. So I just like walked up and I was like, I think you're really good at playing piano and you're really beautiful. And I'm glad you're here. And Megan was like, oh, do you play the piano? And I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want to play? And I'm like, no. But I remember that so well.
Well, I just like when you started telling the story, I didn't really remember it until you said, like, do you want to play? And then I was like, that's totally what I would have done. And I did remember it at that point. And then it was like goosebumps for me too.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. It is so weird.
Yeah. After we talked, I literally ran downstairs and I was like, John's my husband. And I was like, you're not going to believe this. And I told him the story and he goes, oh, that's weird. And I was like, yeah, it was weird. That's all he said. Oh, that's weird.
Well,
I was
that's
like,
weird.
it was weird. Isn't that crazy? And he was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you figured that out. He just like went about his day. But I was like, I'm gonna need more enthusiasm here. But
Yeah, it's crazy
just-
because,
it
you
was
know,
awesome.
obviously you grew up in San Antonio and I lived here for a really long time. And we know a lot of the same
Yeah.
people. You knew my siblings. And, you know, we just didn't really think that there was much overlap other than that. And we did this whole interview where, you know, Kirsten lived near the Cox family. Their parents knew each other. Your mom was Janice's
Yep.
visiting teacher. And so it was funny how you even found the channel because you're not like a YouTube person.
No, not at all. Like Megan's always like, "Oh, do you know this person? Oh, you know this person?" And I have to be like, "Megan, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't watch the YouTubes.
I don't watch the YouTubes."
So
Well, I
remind
mean,
me
I
how
just
you found me again.
Oh, yeah. So, well, it kind of goes back to I've always, I don't know, some people are like, "Oh, I'm super true crime junkie." I mean, I was interested in it. I've always been interested in it. I mean, there's an interaction with my family with Ted Bundy, so we'll have to get into that sometime.
Yeah.
But just because of that,
Right.
yeah, you know, my mom crossed paths with him and such. I was just kind of always interested in true crime in that aspect. So when I'd heard about Lori back before they found the kids and everything, as soon as I heard she was LDS, I was like, click, you know, and I wanted to hear what it was. And
Yeah.
so I knew the story and I knew, you know, again, before they found the kids and stuff. And then I saw I think it was the Netflix documentary right after they found the kids. And I'm watching it and Janice pops up. And I was like, is that Janice Cox? Because she looks, of course, it's been 20 years
Right.
since I've seen her. And I was like, is that like she aged like, no, not great. I mean, we've all seen it. I feel bad saying this, but
Like
I was like, is it? Right? So I was like, oh my God. And I paused it and I like rewound it. I watched it again. I paused it. And I think then they showed a picture of Barry or something. And I was like, and I paused it and I started Googling and it shows like Lori Daybell's parents are, you know, Janice and Barry Cox. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I called my mom. I was calling my sister. I called my high school friends. I'm like, do you hear about this? And of course, nobody knew. So long story long, after that, I became a little obsessed with it just because I had that connection and I knew Janice and Barry so well. I wanted to hear everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw your interview on Hidden True Crime, and I literally said out loud, she gets it, because I kept thinking when everyone's like, oh, she was such a great mom, I don't know how this happened. I'm like, I know how this happened. I can tell you how this happened. Her parents were crazy, you know? So when I heard your interview versus other ones I had heard, either from people that knew her or family or whatever, I literally thought you were the only person that made sense to me. That I was like, she gets it. She sees through it. And then when I found out you had a channel, I was like, oh, I'm going to go over there. And I watched a few of your videos. And of course, I adored you. I'm like, oh, she's so great. She's cute. And on Barry's, I think, and I never comment. I don't know how to comment. Like, I don't
use the YouTubes.
I don't YouTube. So I think I put a comment like, yeah, this is true. I was their neighbor or I knew them or something like that. And apparently you commented back like, I would love to talk to you about it.
Please email me right now.
Yeah. And you were like, I remember you saying on or off the record, because I was like, no freaking way am I going on YouTube. Right. Like, the internet's forever, you know? And so, yeah, when I saw, like, it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, I noticed a little bell in the corner. I was like, oh, what's that mean? I like clicked on it and I was like, oh, and then I felt rude. And I was like, oh no, I didn't respond to her. That's so rude. She asked, you know. So anyways, that's how that all came to be.
Yeah. And so I have to say, anybody who ever comments and says, I knew the Coxes, I knew Barry. I've had a lot of people tell me like they were former clients of his. I always invite them to email me off the record or on the record, because I want to hear these stories. And of course I would love to share them, right? Like people, I think the more people know and are informed about the behavior of these type of people, the more that we learned. But even there have been many people who have told me their stories in confidence, and I will never share them unless they give me permission to do so. But
Right.
I want to hear the story for my own understanding. And the more that I have heard about people's interaction with Janice and Barry, both inside and outside the church, there's stuff that still just like leaves my jaw on the floor. So not to belabor this point too much, but I'm just really glad that you commented. I'm really glad that you were willing to talk to me via email. And then once we called each other, it was just instant.
Hours. I remember
Yeah.
the first time we really talked, it was like 2 or 3 hours
Yeah.
that we talked, and before we did the video or anything. And it was just like immediately I came home. I don't even know if I ever told you this. Right after we talked, I hung up and I sat on my couch and I cried. And because I felt like this is someone that understands, that gets it, that I connect with, that, I mean, just hearing that, the people I know, people that were held up in really high regards or on a pedestal or whatever, we've talked about this more, that I didn't see it that way and you didn't either, that I was like, finally, it felt so validating that I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one out of step, because to me, I consider myself, especially in my family, like a truth teller like you. Like I don't put up with the lies that have gone on in my family for years, and I've cut people out. I haven't really been cut out. It's more on my side. I'll be honest, because I'm just like, I'm not listening to it anymore. I'm not. I have zero time for your bullshit,
Yeah.
And so hearing someone validate in a very big way, outside of, my husband or my therapist or, things like that, people going, no, you're right. But you being there, knowing these people, being in similar situations, having, I don't know how else to put it. It was just extremely validating for me, and it still is. And knowing how similar our personalities are, like it feels very comforting and loving, and not to be love bombing or weird. Just, I adore you. I adore you. And now I know how to comment on YouTube. So, it's pretty exciting.
So you've learned
Who says you
all the
can't teach
things.
an old dog new tricks?
Yeah, and I'm super excited because you're starting a channel. And I'm super excited for that, and
I'm
I
really
can't wait.
scared.
I can't wait. No, it's going to be amazing. So, I mean, just to kind of put a bow on this conversation that we're having about the way that you and I got in touch, it really just is very healing when you have an experience with somebody that you think you're like, this person is weird, this person is off. And it seems like you're the only one who is saying these things. It feels really isolating to be like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just don't like that person and I don't know why, And so to have somebody else validate that experience and say, yep, I felt the exact same thing. I can tell you I had the same sort of experiences, like that helps us to realize that we're not alone and that we're not crazy and that we were valid in what we felt, and it helps us trust ourselves better. And I think anytime that we can have an experience that helps us trust our own instincts better, it is so good for us, because we spend so much time denying those instincts because we're like, I'm the only one, I must be the only one that feels this way. And I felt the same way when I left the church, because the majority of my family was still in. And so I always what I love more than anything else is connecting with other people that I knew when we were both Mormons.
Yeah.
And finding out that they've left now, because it makes me think like, okay, there were people at the same time thinking the same things that I was, and they reached the same conclusion.
Yeah.
And it really does feel, it just does feel validating to, be in that position where you're like, wow, somebody else came to the same conclusion as me, and I'm not crazy, you know, and there
Yeah.
are lots of people out there who think the same thing. So I'm grateful to you for that. Also, just we have so much fun together. You guys
We
would
have
just
so much fun. You guys see what we record. You can only imagine the things. I mean, I don't know if you guys are on Patreon. I still haven't gone and watched it, but there have been times where Megan has had to cut out things that I said. She's like, Kirsten, we can't say that. And I was like, oh, my bad.
it's not that I say that you can't say that, but there are certain things that I have to save for Patreon because they're a little bit too risky for regular YouTube. And I know that I would get shadow banned at the very least. So, yeah, so I do clip out
Whatever,
some
it's
things.
funny.
Somebody was asking in the chat earlier, they were like, whoa, what was with that edit? And I'm like, well, I can tell you, it's on the Patreon because I did not put it on YouTube. Sometimes our conversations stray into different areas and we just have to cut it out.
That's a way to put it. Guys, let's just say that sometimes my head gets ahead, or my mouth is ahead of my brain, and things
Right.
just come out.
Right.
And also, I've had a lot of experiences over my life, you know, like I said, Ted
as have
Bundy, the Manson family. I have lived a life, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
your new channel is called $1 Million Comeback, is that right?
No, I wish. Six-figure comeback.
Okay. Six-figure comeback. Okay, I'm just going to put it in the chat for people who are
I don't have
asking, so you
anything
can go
up yet.
follow her. It's okay because they're all going to follow you anyway. Six-figure comeback. We're working on content right now, everybody. I'm going to make a guest appearance from time to time on our channel. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm doing,
Yeah.
just so you guys have a little tidbit, is I'm a financial advisor, professional, however you want to put it. And, you know, I went from being a single stay-at-home mom, or I was a stay-at-home mom, to being divorced, single with 3 kids. And within 5 years, I went from making $11 an hour to 6 figures. So my channel is going to be more about improving your resume and networking with people, and realizing instead of using money for certain things, to put it in different ways, because it's not just about trying to budget or save money. It's very strategic, and I'll answer investment questions over there. It's really going to be more about kind of where I was, how I got to where I am. And I realized that my story is a little bit unique, but it doesn't have to be. I mentor a lot of people just naturally in my daily life. So why not put it out there on the internet? Is it hot in here?
Well, and Kirsten's going to help me because I have some financial abuse trauma. I was financially abused throughout my childhood and my marriage. And so I have a lot of hangups. I have leftover remnants of scarcity mentality that are causing me to make bad decisions. And so Kirsten's going to help me as well. And
Yes.
yeah, there need to be more women in finance. And one of the other things that
Absolutely.
Kirsten and I connected over is that I did get my Series 6 and 63 licenses, and I was getting ready to go into finance when I got offered this other job. And it was probably one of the worst decisions that I've ever made as far as career goes. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And it sort of sent me down this rabbit hole where actually I learned a lot. And I actually really appreciated all of the work that I did, because a lot of what I did was trying to uncover fraud. And I appreciated what I learned about everything then. And at some point, I'm going to have to write a book about it because it was so freaking crazy. Nobody would believe it. I mean, Kirsten,
I would believe it.
I haven't even told you. I haven't even scratched the surface with this because there's so many other things that I'm covering and researching right now and writing.
I mean,
so I can't. Oh my
I
God.
believe you because same. I mean, there are things that I try not to use so many names. You know, we try to keep things private things private. But I want to tell you, I've told you this. Sorry about my dogs. I don't know if someone's walking down my street. I have a very deep, rich history in Mormonism back to like the apostles and prophets and best friends with Joe.
Yeah.
And also, I have worked in places, you know, like I said, I'm a financial professional where I have dealt a lot with people still very high up in the church. I have seen financial documents. And so when I say things, they could come and sue me and they would have nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't say anything on the internet I don't assume would be shown in a court of law. Like, that's just kind of how I've always been. I don't put anything in. Maybe it was from my dad. I
put
do
it in
not
writing.
put anything in writing or say anything in a public forum that I would not be okay showing in a court of law. And I would put my hand to the Bible on that, you know?
Right.
So when we talk about things with the church or with finance, you know, and the church's finances, which I talked to you a little bit about today, this is not coming from assumptions. It's not coming from even the widow's mite. Not any. This is things I have seen with my own eyes, heard with my own ears, been in those meetings.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Hey, I just want to give a big shout out. Duty Ron is in the chat. Thank you so much, Duty Ron, for your generosity. Duty Ron unfortunately recently lost his African gray. And it was with him for 35 years. And that was on the heels of also losing another pet. And so I saw the post about that and I asked my community to go and reach out to him and give their love to him because he's been so kind and generous with my podcast and was helping the Texas flood victims. And I have a lot of respect for Duty Ron. He's a retired police officer from New York. And just thank you so much for being here and for supporting what we do here.
Thank you.
You don't worry about distracting the chat. Like this is important. This is what this community is about. We support each other. We love each other. And
Absolutely.
that's a hard loss to go through.
That's a hard loss.
We're just here for you. We love you and thank you for being here. And you know, this is for anybody who comes in here. We just support each other. We love each other. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
I mean, on that note, you know, Megan, you can tell them the very first time that we recorded, the main reason I didn't want to go live is I was worried what people would say.
Yes.
And I told Megan, I said, I'm not reading any comments. Do not tell me any of the comments. Do you remember? And you're like, I'll only share with you the nice ones. Because I was so worried. I was like, people are mean on the internet. And I haven't had that experience every time I've been in any chats or lives or seen comments. So you've really cultivated a really special place here. And I'm glad that you let me come and hang out with you guys sometimes.
Of course. Yes. My chat is one of the kindest places on the internet. And I don't know what I did to deserve it, but it really is like, you know, every once in a while I get trolls just like everybody else does. But the thing is that most of the time, everybody, like literally 95% of the time, everybody in my chat is kind and respectful, supportive of each other, supportive of me, supportive of my guests. And honestly, I don't see that everywhere else. And, you know, maybe it's just because my channel is small right now, but it's also just, I love to have healthy pushback. I love to have, like, I'll put comments on the screen when people disagree with me because I want to have that conversation. But I also just want to honor the experiences of every human being because I believe very, very strongly that we have so much more in common than we do different.
Yeah.
And we all want the same things. We all want love and respect. We all want kindness. We all want prosperity for the people that we care about. And I think if we focus a lot more on that instead of focusing on our differences, saying goodnight to my daughter, then I think that we will be much better off as human beings. And I think we as human beings, we're kind of hardwired with our animal brain, with our reptile brain, to resort to tribalism and to get into these little groups where we start judging each other for the little differences. And I just want that to stop. I want us to recognize how much we have in common and realize that just because we disagree doesn't mean we have to dislike. It doesn't mean we have to discredit. It doesn't mean we have to dehumanize. And
absolutely.
I think that's part of like what we're doing here with this family night thing. It's like, I hope that more Mormons will come into the chat
Me
and
too.
watch
I
the
think we
show
have fun. Yeah.
because I think we all have Mormon family night trauma, whether we still believe
Yes.
or not. It's like we all had experiences that really like set us back as kids in the
Yeah.
church. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, and I
yeah.
think too, what what I got from you before I knew you, and I still believe now, is that when you speak about things, and I try to do the same, when we talk about things, we're not trying to disparage people, disparage, necessarily even the church or the members or anything. We're trying to bring light to things that have been incorrect or traumatizing or mean or hateful or things like that. And as much as we want to be like, oh, we love everybody, like, no, the church puts out things that is mean and hateful and wrong. And the last thing I want is to have even one other person on the entire planet have a bad experience like so many have. I mean, so many people are like, oh, I love the church. I agree. Yeah, I have some great memories too, but there's more harm than good in my very loud opinion. I was going to say humble opinion. I was like, nah, it's loud. But I
Let's be
don't
real,
try
it's not
to,
humble.
I really don't try to disparage people, like
Yeah.
I said, nothing I say is not going to hold up in court unless maybe I got a date wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like these aren't things that we're saying because we're out to destroy people and be like, "Wah, pitchforks." We're not. We're like, guess what, guys? This is how it is. So,
Yeah.
ta-da.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I'm definitely not I'm not ever going to claim to know everything. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a human being just like everybody else. I make lots of mistakes, but I want to know if I make a mistake, I get something wrong, I want to be told that I'm incorrect because that's the only way
Yep.
that I learn. I also really try hard to listen to the voices of people with whom I disagree because
Yes.
I don't want to be in an echo chamber where the only people in my chat are the people who agree with me. I want people to come in and challenge me, challenge my knowledge, challenge my opinion, challenge the argument because I'm not always right. And I don't know what I don't know. And because I lived in such a tiny little bubble of Mormonism for so much of my life, I feel like I was shielded from the real world, and I feel like I
Yeah.
didn't learn. There's so much that I didn't learn, and so I want to learn more. And that's one of the reasons why I'm such a voracious researcher, is because I want to look at source documents. I want to talk to people who are actually there. I don't ever again want somebody to tell me how it is. I want to know how it is for myself, and
Yes.
I can't.
Preach.
I can't yet talk about there's a big huge thing that's on the horizon. I can't talk about it yet. But I'm going to do something big and crazy, and I'm in the research phase
Megan
of
is
it
gonna
right now.
never mind. I was gonna say something not never mind. I'll text it to you later because it was funny and good, but not for you too.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm preparing to do something big and crazy, and I have a lot of harebrained ideas. I have a lot of crazy ideas of things that I want to do, and I can't make all of them come to fruition because I don't yet have the connections and the resources and the backing to do them. But this thing is something I'm going to do whether or not I have those things because it feels really, really important to me. So I'm in the research phase of it right now, and when it is the right time, I'm definitely 100% going to release it here first, of course. But I just
You're
this
gonna do it. You're
community,
manifesting it. I mean, this is the
yeah.
thing. Like, you're gonna
But
do it.
this community is what has given me the courage to actually do the things that are a little bit crazy because I think they're so important. And it's about educating a broader public about the dangers of generational trauma and how a lot of us just take what we're handed and we run with it. We spend our whole lives on that instead of ever questioning, maybe this isn't the best way for me to live my life. And that's why That's why the midlife revolution is what it is. It's about making small changes that end up revolutionizing everything that you think about. And that's what it started with me. I shared this the other day, that what started with me was this simple idea of me leaving therapy and spending a half an hour going to a store to touch beautiful fabric and look at beautiful things, because I needed that time to sort of like restore my brain after digging through my trauma for an hour before I went back into my home and sat with my kids and made dinner and did all the other things I had to do. And I was so scared about my former spouse allowing me to have that time, because my relationship was very much coercive control relationship. It was like, if I wasn't there on time, it was like automatically a text, where are you? What are you doing? Why aren't you home yet? And it was scary for me to take that first leap. But I just always want to encourage people to just change one small thing, even when it feels scary, because that's what ends up becoming revolutionary to changing your entire life.
Yeah. No, I love all of that. And I think that's kind of what hopefully my channel will kind of be in the same vein of just like small things that are going to add up quickly, you know. But also what I was thinking when you're talking about this is I was in the same boat, you know, being told things your whole life. You want to find them out for yourself, so you don't take anything at face value, which is probably some sort of trauma response. But the more that I am away from the church, the more I live and see, you know, people and the way their beliefs are, or talk to people about spirituality, the more you know that you don't know. Does that make sense? Like if you talk to people who believe something because they've been told, they will die on a hill that this is how it is, and that's what I've been told, and I know because I have a good feeling, and all of the things. In reality, it's the more you, I don't even want to say research, the more you're open to ideas that maybe things can be wrong, the more you start to connect with it, in my opinion. You know, I say all the time, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And I do feel that way, because religion is, to me, a box, and spirituality is all encompassing, you know. So that's, I guess, kind of going off topic. I'm with you that really embracing that we don't know, and that's okay, is what makes my mind more open to more spirituality. And I feel more spiritual now than I ever did in Mormonism or organized religion.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I struggled with, because Mormonism gives you an answer for everything. And being in the space,
an answer in air quotes,
they give you an answer,
a reason.
It's not a good answer. It's not a true answer. It's not a correct answer. But
they don't give you an answer. They give you a response. Say that. They don't give you an answer. They give you a response. That is the difference.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Yes.
Totally. And I love this space of I don't know. I love being in this space where I have no idea. And I just want to say thank you. I did put this on the screen, but thank you so much, Miss Musro Rising. That's so kind for the super sticker. I love this book by Brittany Hartley. It's called No Nonsense Spirituality.
Yes, I love that book.
There we go. I had Brittany Hartley on my podcast. There is an interview with her. You can go and watch it. It is an absolutely beautiful interview. I still cry anytime that I watch it, because it was such a beautiful connection that we had. And I love the idea of taking all of the tools of religion and using them to give myself purpose and meaning in my life. But I get to decide what it is. Not a priest, not a bishop, not somebody else, but for me to find my own spirituality that's meaningful to me, and to not take somebody else's word for it. I never again want to be told by somebody else what to believe. Like, this is true. You should talk to God about this. Like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to find my own spiritual path. And I love the space of I don't know, because it allows me to accept the ideas of other people as valid. And I've talked about this a lot before. I love to listen to the other faith traditions of people and hear about the rituals, and to hear about the ways that they find awe and transcendence, and to hear what's meaningful to them. Because I think there's so many, and this is a weird kind of analogy that I've used before, and I'm going to continue to say it. I think every single culture and country and continent on the planet has a way of making chicken. There's chicken
Yep.
Kiev, there's chicken stir fry, there's chicken fajitas, there's fried chicken. Like, we all have these different ways of making it, and they're all wonderful if you're willing to taste all the flavors, but to say, no, I don't believe in fried chicken, you know, you're missing out.
Ah, just for that,
You know,
I'm out.
yeah. And I love what Duty Ron says here too. Every religion has extreme people. Every religion has extremists and fundamentalists that take it too far. Those are the dangerous ones. And you know, anything can
Yes.
become extreme. Anything can become too much if you
Yes.
double down on it. So it's always a good idea to kind of check yourself in that and be like, where am I on this spectrum of belief? And am I in a place where I'm rejecting everything else as invalid and untrue? And if I am, I might be getting too extreme in my beliefs. Brittany Hartley, who wrote this book, whose interview I have, she did this great video about the Lori Daybell case where she said, it's not that Lori didn't believe in Mormonism, it's she believed in the fundamentalism of Mormonism so much. That's what made her go off the deep end. You
That's
know,
what
if
I
we
told
can't,
my husband. I said, the thing that's crazy, and I believe I even said this in our interview. I know I told you. The thing that's crazy about Lori is like she was spot on. Like she kind of believed Mormonism more correctly, I guess, or to the definition than mainstream Mormons. And so that's why I'm like, it's kind of scary that you see Lori's case, or how I looked at it is like, I could see that happening to really anybody that I knew that was a super diehard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we all know those people, and so it's not that far of a reach. I mean, I would hope killing family members and children and, you know, would be a far reach, but if it was, then how can we keep seeing it? I mean,
Yeah,
I
and
said
that's
what I
the
said.
issue. Thanks, Momo Nomo, for being here. Love you. I definitely think that, of course, you know, every religion, again, like as we've said, has their own extremists. It gets to the point where we have this hubris that we think that we know, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, when we get to the point where we're excluding other people's religions and ideas as invalid, you know, we're not willing to
Yeah.
take in new information.
Yeah.
That's when it's really, really harmful. And
Yeah.
I wish, you know, I wish that there had been a moment of clarity, you know, at some point, you know, either in my life
Yeah.
or in Maury's life too, where somebody could have gotten through and said, hey, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
get really tired of talking about
Same.
her and the case and everything. And I know
Sorry.
people, no, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. I mean, we had to talk about our connection. That was really important. But also, you know, whenever we talk about family night, when we're talking about these beliefs, we also have to talk about the fact that some people are going to take it too far. And, you know, I
Yeah.
always look, what I've started to kind of reframe in my mind right now is I used to be in this position where I thought, you know, that Mormonism, you know, most Mormons are good people. I'm never going to change the way that I think about
I
that.
agree.
Most Mormons are really
Yeah.
good people. They're kind, they're Christ-like, they're trying to do the best in their communities. But
I
when
agree.
you are guided by an institution that was founded by a predator, everything else becomes fruit of the poisonous tree. So even
Yeah.
though most Mormons are really good people, they still have some harmful ideology. And I will say that
Yes.
as well. When I was a faithful believing Mormon, I did and said some things that I'm not proud of because I believed that I knew better than other people about their own experience. And
Same.
the LGBTQ issue is the prime example of that. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I
Yep.
just took the stance of the church because that's what I was told to do
Yeah.
until I started having my own thoughts and my own experiences about those things. So
Yeah.
I just think in
I mean, that's
general,
one thing I feel awful about too is one thing I carry very heavily on my heart is modesty culture.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
you know, one thing I've brought up a few times is I was a youth counselor for many years. And one of the things that they would have us do is if midriffs or shoulders or anything was showing, we had to send the girls back to the rooms and change. I know. I was wearing a tank top and I changed because I wanted to wear my Stone
I
the
love it.
Patriarchy Medusa shirt.
I love it.
So so I had to take girls back, and at the time I thought I was doing the right thing. I even, out of my own personal money, went and bought tank top undershirts for them to put on underneath, and I thought I was being kind to like do that so they could wear those under their clothes and go back to the dance. But I look back now and I see like some of those girls, I had to take them away from the dance, which was horribly embarrassing, I'm sure.
Right.
Tell them to change or put on these undershirts, which who may or may not have fit them. I think I bought like just a one size, so that I'm sure was uncomfortable. They probably then don't want to go back because they're embarrassed, don't want to dance, And I thought I was doing the right thing. And so even now, like I very much, it's kind of a joke actually in my house that I'll be like, we all should be a little sluttier, don't you think? Because I mean, I'm like, we support sex work in this house, I said what I said. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like being raised with those ideologies that these girls that were so sweet and so cute and, were dancing. So of course they're going to raise their arms up. And of course, this was, early 2000s. Of course their shirts are going to show because everything was right above your underwear line, so
oh my gosh, the
everything.
jeans were so low cut that
There's no way not to have your crack hanging out. Like there just wasn't. Even if you wore granny panties, like.
Oh man, I just remember being a voice teacher a high school voice teacher in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I just saw way more than I ever wanted to see. And I was like, oh, girls. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't have any problem with somebody wearing whatever they're comfortable in. But do they realize when they look in the mirror and they're standing still, that they're like, as they move throughout the day, there are going to be things that get shown. And
but also this is my thing
for that, but
exactly, if they want to, let them, like, you want to go, okay, you do you. If someone has a problem with that says more about them than it does about you. Right. That's all I'm saying.
As long as they understand. And so for my students, I always wanted to say to them, because I'm in a practice room with my students, we're one-on-one. Yes. The door is closed. It's like a big glass door so people can see in. It wasn't totally private. But I would always say to people, hey, do you realize this is showing? Yes. Some of them were horrified. Some of them were like, oh, no. And others of them were like, yeah, so what? And I'm like, if you're like, yeah, so what? Then,
on you.
However, you are a minor child. There are lots of discussions to be had. I really found that the majority of the time when I was teaching, we sang occasionally.
Yeah.
But for the most part, especially when I was working in an inner city school, we were having life skills conversations. We were having conversations about what's healthy and not healthy in your house, in your relationship, all of that kind of stuff, because that stuff mattered way more to me than whether or not they understood the material I was trying to teach. Exactly. So, and there's part of me that really misses that opportunity of being in front of young people and being an influence on that coming up generation and everything. But I think I left at the right time for the right reasons. I did it for my own kids. I needed to. And I just realized that teaching was also an abusive relationship where I was not being fairly compensated for my time. I wasn't respected. I wasn't treated with kindness and respect. And that's my standard.
Yeah.
And so it was just one more thing where I was like, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm not anymore a people pleaser. I'm not anymore going to put my needs underneath someone else's to my own detriment. And that was part of that. So
can I just tell you, because I think every time I talk about modesty and purity culture, I have to tell this story because it cracks me up every single time. So I had just started going to Relief Society. I think I was 18 or 19, like home for Christmas. whatever. So I'm sitting in there with my mom, probably one of the first times. And either the bishop or the first counselor, or maybe even the stake president, somebody came in to give a lesson on modesty to the adult women, right? A man. So he's sitting there telling this story, and my mother, who she is blessed, such as you and me, in the chesticles region. I don't know what else to say. And one thing he said is no women that is endowed in wearing garments should ever show their cleavage. And my mom said, without raising her or anything, she just goes, well, unless I'm wearing a turtleneck, that ain't gonna happen. And everyone just started laughing, and I was like, oh damn, mom. And that was and she sat like this. Remember, she just sat back and was like she gave
I said what I said.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I said what I said. And it just cracks me up because there were so many times like growing up that my mom was very much like, strict, but there were certain things that I think she had her own little ways of kicking against the pricks and putting especially men into their place. I mean, I heard her call our bishop once a misogynistic pig right to his face. She's like, you're acting like a misogynistic pig right now. I was like, oh.
You know what? Good for her.
She didn't do it a lot, but when she did, she meant what she said, and she said what she meant.
Right. I mean, yeah. And there's a part of me, it's a very tiny, tiny part that kind of wishes that I was still in, because that's the kind of stuff I would say nowadays, Yeah. Now that I have my own voice and I have the courage to be who I am without giving zero Fs for what anybody else thinks about it. But also, when I did get asked to come back and teach after the pandemic was over, I really considered it. I think I've said this before, but I quickly played that through and realized that was not going to go well for anybody. And eventually I was going to get kicked out. And I just decided that I would rather spend my time and energy here, doing what I'm doing here, talking about the important things that need to be talked about, instead of there talking about important things and not having that voice valued. Here, that voice is valued. Here, that voice can support other people and let them know that they're not alone. And I would much rather spend my energy here helping people heal from whatever it is that you've been through, because I think we all kind of have, we've all experienced a detriment of kindness and respect at one time or another, and that creates emotional wounds. And if we don't heal those wounds, we end up doing dysfunctional things. And so I'd rather be in a space spreading that message where it can actually resonate with people, where people are actually going to make small changes, rather than people dismissing me because I'm saying things contrary to what the brethren are saying.
Yep. I mean, if nothing else, it helped you and I connect, which to me has been very meaningful. So
yeah,
I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're here.
So. Yeah. And I'm glad you're here too. And I cannot wait for your channel to get going, because you're going to help so many people. There are not enough women in finance. There are not enough women talking about how important it is to have your own plan. And I think that there are some women who are doing it in a way that's not necessarily resonating with people because it's so anti-man. The thing is, I never identified myself as a feminist because of the stigma in the church about what that meant.
Oh, yeah. You pants wearing lady.
Right. You man hating woman. I have always been for the equal treatment of men and women. I've never hated men. I've never felt that men were the problem. I've always felt that the systems and the architecture is the problem. And so I want to talk about that conversation. I've never wanted to tear down an individual man for what they think or feel or believe. Hold on one second. My dog is doing something very naughty right now.
Oh no. Well, guys, now that she's gone.
Sorry. Dogs are not allowed on the sofa. I love my dogs. They get all their own comforts in their own spaces, but they are not allowed on the sofa.
You would die at my house. I sleep in a king size bed with a husband and 4 dogs.
Can't do it.
They are my
Sorry.
babies. I would kick John out before I would kick my dogs out. So
I love my dogs, but I also have boundaries.
I think that animals are better than people. I said what I said.
I mean, you're not wrong about that, but also I just have boundaries.
I understand. I accept you for it. You're wrong, but I'm just kidding. No, so going back, what I want my channel to be, and I hope everyone gets something from it. And if you don't, that's fine too. I mean, end of the day, what I told my family when I was talking about it, that if nothing changes in my life other than just putting this information out there, I'm fine. What I hope is that someone will find it and feel that it helps them in some way. You know, I want to talk about making sure you have something. If you are left in a similar situation that I was left in, how to get out of it, you know, where to start, and I'm doing it from someone that had 0. When I divorced my ex-husband, I had 3 children that he was really not super interested in being part of their life. I didn't have any sort of savings or money because he wanted me to stay home and be a good stay-at-home wife, you know, so I had a giant resume gap. The only place I could find work was a preschool because I couldn't afford daycare. And so here I was with a degree and all of these things, starting from $11 an hour, trying to figure out how to buy groceries and pay my rent. And, you know, where I am now, you know, as Megan knows, some of these tests and licenses you can get, you don't even have to have a bachelor's for. You can take with just a high school diploma. And so I want to share that information with people and to say, you know what, it's okay if you feel like you've had to start over and reinvent yourself multiple times. Just keep going. Like, let's just keep doing it. And then what do you do to make sure you don't end up there again? And even if you do, you have something to lean back on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
totally. Yeah. And it's just gone are the days when you went to college, you got a degree in a field, you got a job in that field, you went to work for one company, your whole career was with that company, and you retire and get a pension. It just doesn't happen anymore. And, you know, more and more people in the younger generations are finding that job hopping actually makes them more money. They get better offers. And, you know, at my age, I'm 50, you know, and I'm having to reinvent. I'm having to, you know, consider a different career. And I've had such a non-traditional career trajectory that could really be seen as a detriment. But what I always put on my cover letters and my resumes when I send them out is that I have really good people skills, and that's something that can translate to any industry.
Yeah.
And people who really understand business, when they just want to hire talent, they don't care what your degree is in. They want to hire talent, and they recognize that there are certain things that can't be taught. And people skills are one of those things. Emotional intelligence, it's something that you can learn and you can gain over time. But if somebody already has emotional intelligence, the ability to build rapport and relationships, that goes a lot farther than having a degree in the specific industry, because they can always teach you the industry. They can't teach you how to be a people person.
Why am I sideways?
I was just going to ask, I was like, you know, I have not indulged in anything crazy. So I'm really wondering, is this just me?
No, my daughter like messaged me and then it turned sideways. I'm going to hop out and I'm going to hop back in. Okay.
Okay. No problem.
I'll be right back.
Go for it. In the meantime, I'm just going to plug Kirsten's channel. She is Six Figure Comeback at Six Figure Comeback here on YouTube. She doesn't have anything posted yet, but she's working on it. And I'm super excited to follow her. She and I are going to actually be doing some things together on that channel, which I'm also really excited for. And I just want to say thanks again to everybody for being here. This is a live difficult research. Thank you for popping in. Good to see you. Kirsten has it. Yeah, exactly. Yes. I will put you guys in touch. Definitely.
Yes.
This is a
I got
live
you.
after our pre-recorded family home evening. So for those of you who are just joining us, I just want to say we're going to be doing family home evening every Monday night. We're always going to pre-record it on Sunday because that's when we have time to do it. But we're going to pre-record. But every Monday night, we're going to have family night. And whenever we can, we'll do this live chat afterwards as a Q&A. And just welcome to everybody. Please like the episode because that makes it get out to more people who are looking for the content. And when you're watching the FHE, whenever we're teaching information about Mormonism, but also about healthy relationships, healthy religions, how to communicate better, all the things that we were taught that was harmful when we were kids. Share it with somebody else who has the same type of experience and needs to hear it. Mm-hmm. That's one of the best ways to support the channel. So appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm here to help whoever would like or need help. I took a look at Megan's resume and we're going to be doing some stuff together, showing the process and how it would be actually sitting down with someone and talking to them about it. One of the things I want to show, I've worked for billion-dollar firms and teach you guys what I have seen, that people that have a lot of money, what they do with their money, and it works for anybody, even if you only have $50 to start with. It really does.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Lillian, maybe you're behind a little ways, but I did definitely pause to say thanks to Duty Ron and also to Miss Mojo Rising for their gifts and C Charles for their super sticker. I do really appreciate everybody who supports. So I think it's just because you might be behind the actual live. But I did take a pause to say thanks to everybody who supports. So I guess just to wrap up, what we talked about tonight on our episode was how we got the Book of Mormon lesson. That's it.
Yes.
Really silly reader. Yeah. So I guess what's coming next, I guess I should look. You're the one who has the lesson next week, and I have the treat. Yeah. And it honestly, Kirsten, I have to say, it gives me a little bit of anxiety because every time I'm like, oh, I have an assignment. I have to make sure that I'm ready at the right time because I still have this Mormon anxiety about not being ready or prepared whenever I have an assignment to bring a treat because I would always forget. Yeah, this is my little puppy. Hi. This is Valkyrie. This is Valkyrie. She's been sitting next to me the whole time, and now she's like, I want to sit in your lap, but she's not a lap dog. She's too big to be a lap dog. And she's also really naughty because the reason Loki was on the couch is because she was in his bed. So
Loki's like, I have nowhere to lay.
Not a good girl. Not a good girl.
My babies are sitting right out the door. I can hear them. They're like, Mom. Mom. She literally wants, she's trying to put her paw up on the desk right now. She's like, hi. No, you need to get down. I love you so much. You need to get down. We'll have to do this next time. We forgot to touch on all the things I sent you today about
yes, about church finance. Yeah.
It's interesting. I just sat there. I was like, that would mean.
Well, so, I talked about this also, guys, weekly on Sunday afternoons, I do a news show with Jean and Randy. It's called the Salt Lake Expositor, where we talk about news stories, but also the structure of the church, how it came to be, why it's unhealthy. And we were talking a little bit about church finance because the Widow's Mite report has estimated that the LDS church might owe somewhere around $90 million in taxes. That's like a nothing burger to them. They can pay it and not even feel it at all. But finance is such a huge part of the church because they are the richest church in the world, especially if you consider per capita. And they're on track to become a $1 trillion organization within the next 15 to 20 years, depending on the returns on their investments. For those of you guys who, I can't imagine $1 trillion, what that would be like. I can't even imagine what $1 billion would be like. It's even hard for me to really wrap my brain around $1 million, because while I understand the concept of it and how much it would take to get to that point, it's not just accessible to me at this moment in my life.
Yeah.
And so when I think about $1 trillion, okay, I think the one you sent me that was the most impactful is that with $300 billion, the church is richer than the Vatican. It's richer than the British royal family. The British royal family only has about 80 billion only.
Yep.
The Vatican only has about 18 billion, because they actually pay their clergy to do the jobs that they're supposed to do. But with $300 billion, the LDS Church could spend $1 million a day for the next 800 years.
It's like 832 or something like
And they
that.
would
Like
still
I
not
sat
run out
down
of
and
money.
did every single day, $1 million. I feel like Dr.
Every
Evil,
day.
$1 million every single day. And it would be like 830 some odd years before they ran out of money.
Yeah.
And the other one I did was, okay, so if there's 17 million members,
which there aren't,
which there aren't. I did the calculation, but you have it. I'm on my phone. But wasn't it? It was like they could have.
They could give. Okay, if they really do have 17.5 million members, they could give $17,000 to every single member of the church. Well, we know they don't actually have that many members because they are counting people who haven't been to church in years.
Right.
They're counting people who are actually deceased, because they continue to count people until they're 110 years old.
Right.
And we know not everybody reaches that life expectancy. So the real estimates are somewhere around $4.5 million. Million members. So if they really have about 4.5 million members, they could afford to gift every member of their own
every
church,
member of their church, $75,000.
Right.
Every single
Which is
person they could hand to them.
It's a life-changing amount of money for so many people, especially if they're living in third world countries. And for other people who are living in the United States, it might make a dent in their debt.
This is what I was thinking about, which is why I was like, maybe we should save this for another time, because I could go off for fucking ever about it, because it pisses me off.
Yeah.
But think about it. If you have, like, let's say in my family, I have 4 children, me and my spouse. Each of those people are over 8. So every single one of those persons, 6 people times 75,000. That could buy a home. That could pay for groceries, pay off debt, like pay for someone's schooling. That would be life-changing. And they don't have to. Like, they don't do any of that. And then I also did a calculation. I'm like, I did the time value of money, because I'm like that. So let's say the average return of the market over 5 years is 7%. That's being very conservative. It's usually more like 10. But anyways, I sent you the thing too, because I cannot remember. But it just 5 years, if they have their 300 billion, they don't add another penny, which we know they collect tithing and everything, so they would. That would make them almost another $100 billion. It came to it was like 392 or something like that. Like I did all this stuff. So another $100 billion in only 5 years if they didn't add any other money, which they are going to. So, I mean, I don't think people understand the concept of compound interest and like what that does, to the church's wealth. And they, I feel like they're giving the finger to every single person that comes to them saying, I'm having a hard time. I need help. I need groceries. I'm going to be kicked out of my house. And they're like, well, did you pay your tithing? Well, sorry.
Not only that, but they also get super judgy about the other expenses that people have. And I know that I've said this before, but my bishop, whenever my family was in need of some help, he said, whenever a family comes to me and asks me for help, I always ask them if they are paying for cable. Because if you're paying $100 a month for cable, you should cut that off before you ever ask the church for help. And I'm like, okay, but the church can really afford to help members even if they're also paying for cable.
I've
So-
had friends tell me stories of when they'd gone to their bishop and their bishop had encouraged them to find a new home in a less expensive part of town, and they were not living in an expensive part of town. Like encouraging them to move out of the ward and find less expensive, and I use that in air quotes, housing. And also said in that same meeting, I think you've tried to take enough from this ward. Maybe you should find another one.
That's so awful.
And I was
It's
like,
so
I was
ridiculous.
so angry when I heard that story. I was very, very, very angry. Also because this person was, very much like us in that we gave everything, every second, and had just fallen into really unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm just going to
sad.
do a thing because High Grace brought this up. Hey Siri, how much is the Church of Scientology worth?
Okay, I found this on the web. For how much is the Church of Scientology worth?
Okay, so Siri's the worst assistant in the entire world, but
What did she say?
it basically says,
I'm like,
well, she didn't say, she just pointed me to a freaking Wikipedia article, which I hate. I'm going to try to go to a
Ooh,
different
should I
source
ask
here real
mine?
quick. Give me 1 second.
hey Alexa, how much is the Church of Scientology worth?
Inscribe.com. The Church of Scientology is estimated to be worth over $2 billion.
$2 billion.
You have
So
a new notification.
Alexa, stop. So yeah,
Okay,
I'd say
so-
they have more.
Right? 2024 report valued this Church of Scientology at about 2.5 billion, including a notable $360 million donation from Robert Duggan. That's a huge freaking donation.
Yeah, so that's but
even
2
on the
billion
high
is
end,
nothing.
I will say, even on the high end, they're worth $3 billion. So nothing, literally nothing compared to the Mormon Church. The Mormon Church has 100 times what the Church of Scientology has.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying $1 billion,
100
like
times.
if people have can't even grasp the concept of $1 billion. And so I try to like even talk to my kids or whatever, just to put it in perspective. Like, I don't know. I can't think of it any other way than like, well, I do know this too. So for like Elon Musk, he has 400 something billion dollars, whatever I looked up last. And just Elon, this amount of money is crazy. He could get every single person on the entire earth living right now $52. And because it doesn't split evenly, what he would have left over is 900 some odd million dollars still he would have left over from
Oh my
the
gosh.
cents that didn't split evenly. Every single human. Isn't that crazy? Like,
That
it's
is
just
wild.
an insane amount of money. So the
Yeah,
fact that
and-
they're starving children, it just, yeah.
I
blows
have
my
often
mind.
said, even if the Mormon Church only took care of its own members, it could eradicate homelessness and children starving within its own membership ranks in a heartbeat, just
Yeah.
with a finger snap. And they don't.
Yep.
Yeah. They are the largest landowners in Florida, Nebraska,
Yes.
and I think
Yep.
2 other states.
Yeah, Miss Miller,
Um,
you're right.
Because what else do they have to do with this much wealth but buy up land and build temples? And so whenever they are building temples in all of these places, make no mistake, they do not have the resources or the membership to staff these temples and to keep them open. It used to be that they would build a temple in a place where there was enough membership in that area
To
to
support
staff the
it.
temple and keep
Yeah.
it full Monday through Saturday, because temples aren't open on Sunday. It's just regular churches that are open on Sunday. Well, now a lot of these temples are closed the majority of the week. They're open 1 to maybe 3 days a week in a lot of these cases. But what else are they going to do with their money but spend $50 million building an opulent building with ridiculously expensive furniture? And every time they renovate one of these places, they literally throw away the furniture.
Mhm.
Just throw it away.
And it's gorgeous furniture. Like they
Because they
spare
don't
no
wanna-
expense.
They don't want to reuse it. They don't want people using it. Like it's considered, like, I'm sorry, this is a sacred couch. We can't, give it to anyone who needs a couch. It's,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is true too.
Yeah.
And this is actually the thing I care about more than anything else. If the
100%.
church would stop covering up SA, it would save so much money in lawsuit costs. And they have enough money that they could pay for background checks for every single person who works with children in the entire world.
Mhm.
They could pay to have a counselor on staff in every state in the entire world.
Yep.
They could pay clergy to actually be trained in counseling and how to deal with these kinds of things. They could definitely pay to make the problem of SA go away in their church, but they won't.
Mhm.
And this is what
Yep.
the attorney, Tim Kosnoff, who's been fighting against this for the last 4 decades in his law practice, he's been representing clients against the LDS church. The thing that he says is that they don't care. They don't do
Which
it
is
because
true.
they don't care. And Kirsten, if you can speak to this, if you want to know what somebody's priorities are, you look at what they spend their money on.
100%.
And what do they spend their
100%.
money on? They spend their money on litigation.
Defense
They spend it
counsel.
on defense counsel. They spend it on temples. They spend it on PR campaigns. They spend it on basically covering their butts instead of
But this is,
spending it on protecting children.
I'm going to say this because it is true, and I want this to be loud and clear. They will first ask for it for free before they ask for money. So even in those things, a lot of times it is volunteer. So whether that be the videography or the hair and makeup for these productions, or even sometimes getting stuff together for defense counsel, people will be like, oh, it's for the church, I'm going to do this pro bono. Like that happens so often because people think they are helping the church and they want to do it for God or whatever. And they don't say, this is my price. They say, this is for God, this is for the church. I'm going to donate my time and efforts and knowledge freely because it is for the church. And so it's even worse than that because so many people are like, we'll ask for it first. We'll ask if they'll do it first. Because also it's for them. It could be a tax write-off because it's for a charity. It's a 501(c)(3).
Right.
Like these are all the things that drive my little finance brain crazy because I feel like even, faithful members of the church do not have any concept of it because I do think a lot of people, in my opinion, I guess, they do prey on people who are more vulnerable, who do need
Yes, they
things
do.
and need help, and they see it as giving things to God so they can receive eternal blessings in return. They have no clue. They have no clue. I will say it 1,000 times from the top of the mountain. They have no clue. They don't understand it. There are so many people that are financially illiterate all over, and I do think a large part of that are people in Mormonism, specifically women, who have no clue. And they will freely give up their time and resources, not be compensated because they're doing it for the church or for, they have a little budget or they want to help or they can do it. They're stay-at-home moms. They have the time, and it drives me fucking nuts. It makes me so angry. Like, people are worth their time and talents, and the church can pay them and pay them well.
That's right.
So stop it. Stop
but
it.
They won't. But they won't.
They
And
won't.
even
They
if,
never will.
even right. And even if somebody were to go to their leadership and make a case and say, look, in other churches, people get compensated for performing in church. People get compensated for playing the organ for these services because they show up every Sunday. They have to prepare to do it. They're here, they're using their time and talents. But nope, we covenant in the temple, or meaning like we make a promise in the temple that we will give our time, our talents, and everything with which the Lord may bless us, or with which he may bless us in the future, to the building up of the kingdom of Zion. That's the language that we say in the temple, that we promise in the temple, that we're going to give everything that we have, even our lives, if it is asked that we do that. And we see that as us consecrating our efforts and our talents to building up God's kingdom, because we believe that every person needs to hear the gospel. And it makes me sick to even say all of that stuff, because it's disgusting to me.
Correct.
Because at a time in my life when I had young children at home, when my former spouse was perpetually underemployed, he was not earning enough money to take care of our family, and we were declaring bankruptcy, I was still paying my tithing, and I was still donating at least 20 to 30 hours a week of my time to the church, teaching and doing music callings and preparing things. And so I had no compensation for that, other than that, oh, I don't need money, because my compensation is that I'm building up my future in the kingdom of heaven over this. And we get brainwashed into believing that we don't deserve to be compensated, because we're not in it for the money. We're in it for getting blessings with God. It's the same effing thing. It's the same thing. We think that we're being all holy and noble, but we're still doing it for a benefit in the end. It's just that the benefit's going to come after we die, rather than right now.
It's true. I mean, that started, you can really think of a lot of stories, as I'm sure you know, with Brigham Young and wanting people to donate or give things to the temple or whatever. And if they didn't, he was like, oh, well, we don't really need you around anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, more stories
and I will tell
for
you,
another day.
Exactly. This is the grossest thing as well. I would love to have Kirsten join us on Tuesdays with Tim. It's the weirdest show on the internet, but it's great.
I freaking love it. Are you kidding me? You're gonna laugh. I go to the gym because I am preparing to do a half marathon that I think I'm so worried about. Sorry about that weird noise. But anyways, I know you guys are going to do it on Tuesdays. I get on my little treadmill and I pull it up and I'm just like typing away. And anyways, I do. I'm like sitting there and I'm like, this is great. That's why when I called the other day, you're like, she's on her headphones. I'm like, I am. Well, that was on Sunday, but you know what I'm saying. Same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. But I guess for me, the bottom line for all of that is that, the church preys on people who are vulnerable and in need of something, and they sort of outsource their critical thinking in exchange for a story that makes them feel better about their circumstances. And I did it, and I believed it, and I bought into it, mainly because I'm a 7th generation Mormon, and 7 generations of my people could not have been totally wrong. And so that's one of the main reasons why I believed it. But I just think, it's just so disingenuous. The missionaries are never going to tell you about the epidemic of SA in the church, and they don't even know about it. And that's part of the problem. All of these sweet young missionaries going out there, they don't know the real stories. No. They don't know the real things. Yeah. So,
and they don't talk about it enough that, the young women or the young men that have experienced it, they don't talk about it. So they think they are an isolated, unfortunate incident.
Right.
When that's not at all how it is. It is so rampant. And I think that's why we keep coming back to it. Like, on your channel, on other channels, this is the conversation that keeps having to be talked about, brought up, and gone over and over and over to keep hammering it into people's head, that the church is harming people by protecting abusers. And, and one of the conversations I know on the live you guys had before, they were talking about, that prisoners straight up will say, or people that have been arrested will straight up say that churches are an easy place to find victims.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
I believe, I haven't been a member of another church. I have attended other churches, but I believe, as someone who went to Mormonism, LDS Church, from other places I have seen, I feel like Mormons in general are more trusting of each other than
Yep.
a lot of other religions. They
100%.
work together. They will blindly choose someone in their ward to be their professional, doctor. How many people do we
Right.
know? Oh, my dentist is in my ward. Oh, my
Yep.
pediatrician's in my ward. Oh, my plastic surgeon's my state president. And these are all real life examples. You know what I'm saying? They don't look up, does this person have malpractice lawsuits? Did I go in there and they gave me the wrong kind of Novocaine? So why would they think this person could be a sexual predator that is being covered up by the church?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. And it's the kind of thing where, you see somebody in the temple, and so that they've passed that 2-step interview process to get there.
Yeah.
And I never thought that somebody would lie. We mentioned that in the episode earlier. I never thought someone would lie in their temple recommend interview, and so it never
Yeah.
crossed my mind that somebody who held a temple recommend might not be a good person. And so rather than using my own critical thinking and listening to my own instincts about a person, I would go, well, they're a temple recommend holder, so I
Yeah.
should trust them, right?
Yeah.
And that's where people get harmed and abused, and it's just,
Yucky.
This is the reason why I want to keep talking about it more than anything else, is because I want people out there to know that they're not alone. That really is
Yeah.
the main thing. And so if you've had an experience in Mormonism or with Mormons where you have this cognitive dissonance where you're like, most Mormons are really good, but also the church teaches this thing that's really harmful, or they do this thing that's really harmful, you're not alone, and you're not crazy, and you should trust your instincts. Because more than anything else, what I want people to learn to do is to trust their instincts, because I think we all inherently know what we need to have a healthier and more productive life. But a lot of times we dismiss it because we
Yeah.
think, I'm not really sure if that's real or true. I
Yeah.
really just want people to trust their instincts more, because I think we know more than we think we do. And we
Agreed.
intuit more than we think we do. And when you have a
Yeah.
gross feeling about someone or something or an organization, trust it. It's probably
Yeah.
right.
And, I want people to know it's okay to walk away from what you've known your whole life. It's okay to be like, you know what? I'm done with this. Like, it served its purpose in the past, or it's helping my family or whatever, and not choose it, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that held me back for a long time, because it was all I knew. And so it was kind of like
Right.
going and doing something different was really, really scary.
Right.
But why not? Like, if you leave and you're like, I was totally wrong, I hate this. Okay, go back to church. Walk back in there. Believe me, they will
Right.
welcome you.
Right.
I mean, people get excommunicated and rebaptized. And like, so if you just choose to be walk away, like, you can go back. It's okay to take a beat and figure out what you believe or what you don't
Yeah.
believe, or say, I'm done with this. I'm done with religion. I'm atheist now. I'm nihilistic now. And then later be like, you know what? I was probably on a dark path. Get you some anxiety meds and then go, like, it's, nobody has said you have to do this one singular thing because that's what you've done and we say it's right. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are either. I have a child that is, yes, absolutely, walk away from people, Miss Mojo. Yep. I have a child that is a very, very spiritual too. Just always like, have you heard about this? What about this? wanting to know more, asking a lot of questions. You know, when my mother passed, asking tons of questions, very detailed, wanting to know about near-death experiences, wanting to know about mediums, you know, all these things. And then now she's asking questions about other things and asking about tarot and all these things. And what I just love is she's never been in one peg, you know, like has to be a certain way. And I
Yeah.
have told her so many times, I'm like, you know what's really great? You can learn about it. I don't know. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel connected with the universe or science or the ground or the grass or the stars? Like, it doesn't matter. And I've even told my children, if one day you read the Book of Mormon and you decide Mormonism is for me, I will be at your baptism and give you a hug and say, if you're ready to leave, whenever you're ready, I'll be there, you know? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe that's what I learned from Mormonism. People have free choice and free will, so stop telling them that they're wrong. Or, I mean, not Mormonism, they're wrong, but you know what I'm saying? They're
Mormonism
wrong.
is wrong. We'll say that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting on a soapbox. All I'm saying is if you feel
you're,
like you
you're
want to leave,
fine.
just leave. You can always go
Yeah.
back. You can change. You can reinvent yourself. You can do whatever feels good to you, because how you feel and how you live your life is going to end up being the most important thing. Because as I think everybody, I would hope, listening to this, especially those in the chat regularly, we all know that life is so fucking short. And I did use that word on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a brother that passed in childhood. My mother passed before retirement age. Like, life is short. Stop letting someone else dictate how you're going to live it.
Exactly. And I think the thing that I want to end on, I mean, this is a thing. Thank you for that. I appreciate your rants. The thing that I will say this, you know, as often as anybody will give me a place to say it, is that I think that the world could be so much of a better place, and all of us could be better off in our lives if we would just choose the thing that is the most loving thing for us.
Yeah.
It's such a simple idea, but it is hard to practice because a lot of us were raised to be people pleasers. We were raised to subjugate our own needs, you know, underneath the needs of other people. And we think that it's bad if we make a choice that negatively affects other people. But I will tell you that if you continue to make choices in your life that positively affect other people but negatively affect you, you're going to end up broken and unhappy because you know what you need. And when you consistently choose something different than that, it is a betrayal of yourself.
Yeah.
And if you will consistently choose the thing that is the best thing for you, you're going to disappoint people. People are going to be negatively affected by it. But you cannot help other people in your life unless you're the best version of yourself. And becoming the best version of you means choosing things that are sometimes uncomfortable and sometimes negatively affect other people. But I will tell you, as I look back over the course of my entire life, if I had made the choice that was the most loving thing for me, not only would I have been in a better position to help other people, but I would have also been in a better position to create more opportunities to help more people.
Yeah.
As it is, as I've made these choices that are better for others and not as good for me, I have hindered my ability to help other people. It is the stupid, dumb thing of putting your own oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
Because if you pass out, you're no good to anybody around you.
Yep. Well, and I heard something that I just want to throw in really quick that has kind of been something that I have been thinking about recently. I actually wrote it on a sticky and put it on my desk. I am trying to make it a consistent point in my life to make friends, or excuse me, I'm not making friends, I'm making allies, because friends are going to sit there and be jealous of what you're doing or sad because you're doing something or your decision affects them. But allies are going to speak positively about you when you're not in the room. They're going to look out for you. They're going to want what's best for you. They're going to cheer you on, even if that's not going to do the best thing for them or make them feel warm and fuzzy inside. So I am consistently now specifically trying to make allies, not friends. So that's just something that I think goes along with that, because when you're choosing true allies, your hype squad or whatever you want to call it in your corner, then it's going to be better for everyone around. And I personally am trying consistently to be that person. And I hope I am, because I want people to know that I am in their corner and that I'm hyping them up, and good things for them are going to be good things for me because I care about them and I love them.
Yeah.
So that just kind of made me think of that when you were talking about that. And I feel very strongly about wanting to hype each other up and make the world a better place for everyone, not just for the selfish reasons or the few, or however you want to say it.
Yeah. And I think that's a lovely place to end. So thank you, Kirsten, for who you are. And thanks for being my friend. And thanks you for joining me for family night.
I love it. I appreciate you so much. You know that. And I appreciate all of your followers in your chat. Everyone like and subscribe to Megan, because we adore her and she deserves all of the thumbs up now that I know how to YouTube.
Thank you so much. I will say, about 50% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers, and it is the best free way to support the channel. So subscribe if you can, and also like the video, and also comment on the video if you're watching on the replay, because the engagement helps. If you're able to financially support the channel, I do have a Patreon. It's at patreon.com/the midlife revolution. It's also in the show notes. And that is where I do all of my videos about my regular, ordinary, everyday life. Lots of singing, playing the piano, blog posts, and all kinds of secret behind the scenes info.
Guys, you can watch
Also,
her play the piano and see what drew me in all of those years ago.
And also all the clips of Kirsten and my conversation that I couldn't show on YouTube, they're on Patreon. So love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. The thing that is the most important to me is that you guys take care of yourselves. Please show yourself some kindness, love, and respect tonight. Talk kindly to yourself. Be your favorite person, your biggest cheerleader, and just give yourself a high five and give yourself credit for all the great things that you did today. And we'll see you again on a Monday night. Tomorrow is True Crime Tuesday. Don't forget to show up. We'll be there together. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.